Yes now, bless now. Don't forget the rest now. Desmond, D-Rod, Double Dip, Triple D, signing in. We're listening to Slipknot, Volume 3, the Subliminal Verses. We're going to listen to it from start to finish. Okay? If there's any issues like there has been with the original Slipknot record, with particular songs being left out of the playlist, let me know and take it up. Oh no, Slipknot themselves, the official page has actually uploaded this playlist, so we might be alright, to be honest with you. But I don't know this record. I know a couple of tunes out of the record. I think we have Pulse of the Maggots on this one, potentially, which I enjoyed when I was a lot younger. Downloaded it off of LimeWire and I thought it was a great tune. What else to say, really? So I listened to the second record, Iowa, and it was good, but after listening to the first one, the Mystique and the Magic sort of, didn't hit me like it did initially. I didn't think it was as good as the self-titled record. So I've taken a little bit of time off of Slipknot, so that now my return should hopefully be a little more fresh, and I can enjoy this experience a little more than I did the second record. And I'm interested to see where they went with this, so I'm going to stop wasting your time. I'm going to get straight into it, people. We're going to start a Prelude 3.0, which is 3 minutes 57 seconds long, so potentially it might be a little more than an intro. We might actually have some music going on here. If you want to access all of my full album listens and reactions, including, afterthoughts and ratings of the records and so forth, which I don't do on YouTube, you can feel free to check out what I got going on in the description of this video, as I do have a Patreon where I can offer you above and beyond what you receive on YouTube. And without further ado, this one is Prelude 3.0. One love. What are they utilising as a form of percussion there? I like that. Initially I thought it was some crazy technique on one of the cymbals, but it sounds as if it's like a dropping of a glass. Like a glass just bouncing off of a surface. These bitter skins again. I want to say something regarding Slipknot. They dip their hand in so many different genres and aspects of metal. It's really quite good. I don't know any band that sounds like Slipknot and pulls off, Slipknot the way Slipknot do Slipknot. But apologies to all of the metalheads, all you serious lot, but I do find a little bit of a gothic element to the band. I mean, obviously there's like a deep sort of morbid element to this act, which sort of delves into death metal when it wants to, but soundscapes like this and sort of the dreary emo vocal is really quite gothic in my opinion. Like southern rock energy with this riff and this vocal line. Definitely not jumping into the intensity as fast as we did with the other two records.
Now it's over. Don't know why you never asked me.
Would the next stage of, well, to be honest, Slipknot have just put out a new record from what I'm aware, but would the next stage and sort of re-amplification of Slipknot be a removal of the masks? For them to be up there on stage as human beings as opposed to these masked entities? I know this has sort of been the whole shtick of Slipknot since the start, but I don't think it would devalue the band at this point. I think it'd actually revitalize, re-energize, and recreate what we know of the band or what the fans know of the band, you know? I'm not going to speak of what we know because I know there's some serious Slipknot fans out there and I'm definitely not one of them. I do enjoy the music though, I've enjoyed what we've heard so far. But what do you think? Obviously the Masks are the band, but you know, I'm sure at this point people, well, the fans know what the artists look like behind the masks. It's no secret. And I think it'd actually be good for the band members as well. You know what I mean? To actually get out and about and not have to hide behind this outfit as such.
Don't know why.
But I guess it removes the theatrics to some extent.
You never cared. When we hide these little sins again. Die. But now it's over. Now it's over. Now it's over. And now it's over.
I bet back in the day when this record came out, the proper Slipknot fans who just banged this in their stereo player and started listening to it, I bet they were so excited listening through to this, but on the same level quite anxious of what was to come, to see where the band went from this track, because they could have had a whole record sounding like this. You never know, you know what I mean? And now we bleed it in, right? We bleed it into The Blister Exists. Obviously on the record that's meant to sort of transition a bit cleaner than what we got. So there's King of the Pit TV signing in track 2, volume 3, the Subliminal Verses. This one's entitled The Blister Exists. This is where the Slipknot begins. Let's go. For a band as menacing, intense, and extreme, with the notoriety and reputation of Slipknot, production-wise, this is actually quite a clean-sounding record. Well, at least 49 seconds into the blister exists, it seems. So the kick drum's really punchy on this record. There's a real emphasis on that kick drum. The guitar tones are just real, in the metal sense, clean. They've not been pushed to the forefront from what I can hear. Sounds like everything's got plenty of space to breathe. Is that the front man, Corey? Is it Corey Taylor on the front, doing that spoken word bit, or is that another member of the band? Creepy. Listen to that kick. So, in reference to what I said during the prelude, and what I've said in the previous listenings to Slipknot music, they sort of take so many elements of different styles of heavy music, and this vocal line here comes across as it sounds like heavy metal, like a heavy metal vocal style of performance, and I'm still getting this southern rock kind of vibe with the guitars at this moment in time. Maybe it's the rhythm as to which they're played, or I won't go as far as saying it's the tone of the guitars, but there's something about the instrumental at points, based on the riff, I would say, where we've been venturing into that zone. I felt like I picked it up on the prelude thing. I had something else to say, but I've forgotten what. We've got some relatively hardcore groove metal riffing going on, and we've got these lead guitars just blending in, doing their own thing, strategized to sort of be pinpointing the riff where it makes the most sense. These panned guitars, because I think the one lead guitar came up here initially, and then we got one here coming in with like additional guitar pedal effects and so on and so forth. I couldn't tell you what was going on with that lead guitar, because I'm not a pedal header out like that, but yeah, keeping it fresh. You know what I mean? I think the actual riff, we've moved on to a different section, but we sort of jammed on that for however long. And then to freshen it up and keep the actual piece moving, we were introducing all these cool little tidbits and ad-libs on the lead guitar. Surely when they perform this bit, they really emphasise on the percussive member or members of the band, right? I'm sure this is probably like the percussive members on the record, which, as far as my personal opinion on it, I think it looks cool to have so many members in the band, but is it unnecessary? Is it unnecessary? Can you know, Joey Jordison just performed these bits? I know he's not with us no more, but you know what I mean, when he was, like, could he not just have his own setup where he could perform these tones and hit these drums? I guess he'd need 4 hands if he's sort of doing his thing on the drum kit alongside, but you know what I mean. I'd rather take the performance rate for myself. I'd say get rid of him, we don't need him. I'd cut it down to a 4-piece band and make more money, personally. I do like it when we have these military-esque rhythms on the, you know, whatever percussion you would call it. I assume the drummer is playing it on the snare, right? If you see me look towards my phone at any point during this, I don't do that in a disrespectful manner. I'm actually trying to create engagement regarding this particular record with friends who are Slipknot fans, so I could get another, you know, secondary opinion. Purely as I think whilst it's on the official Slipknot page, we're not going to be able to read comments or out like that, so, you know we like reading comments to see what other people think. Right, cool. Plenty of different sections to talk about there. That rocky chorus-esque section. We've got that military bridge we introduced in the middle and finished off with. And yeah, the main riff and sort of like verse sections, what sort of rang throughout that. It was alright. Let's keep it moving. There's King of the Pit TV. I got a bothered eye, so if I close my eye such as now, if I just start, you know, weeping pure blood out of my eye, don't hate. We're listening to Slipknot, people. This one's entitled 3-0. We're listening to the subliminal verses from start to finish. Let's get straight into it. I think this band is like Resident Evil 4 personified as a band. Oh, I jammed this stuff out whilst I was playing Resi 4 on the GameCube back in the day. This would be my jam. That reminds me of when I used to do the same thing whilst listening to System of a Down. It reminded me of a track called what's that one? Banana, 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 terracotta. Because there's a vocal in there that kind of sounds like that. I'm gonna bounce for a second, sort my eye out, people. Wouldn't look. Yes, now bless now. What was only just a moment for you was like a good hour for me sorting my eye out. Just got myself a cup of coffee. We're listening to 3-0. You know what? We'll listen from the start because I'm a little out of touch at this point. You know what we're doing? Volume 3 Subliminal Verses. So I definitely commented on the System of a Down song and Resident Evil because it still brought me that same sort of vocal effect that was in that System of a Down song, except it's on a guitar this time. The guitar sort of portrays that same sound I found ever so unique to that one System song. Question to the Slipknot fans, right? Does anybody ever hardcore dance at these events? I know they probably won't be dancing for long. You know what I mean? Because it's all about the push party at these dudes. But does anybody try like actually like spin kicking or all like that to these riffs? Because there's some hardcore riffs. Death metal. This is not my fight. This is something more. This is not my life. This is not my revolution. This is not my revolution. This is not my expectation. This is not my desperation. Yeah! Hold up, start a take for the hell of it. Look at me. I'm the glorified malcontent. Save me, save this. All I gotta do is give up. And all is forgiven, I'm sick. We got a real busy vocal line on this tune, and we've got some really death metal riffing at times, like that chug bit dun 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 dun, and just the riff that came before, the tremolo picking bit was just like, dude. I'm being the butt of a cosmic joke and I don't get the punchline. A million people lined up for miles to see the great big mouth. Shut up and apologize. This is not my war. This is not my fight. This is something more. This is not my life. This is not my revolution. This is not my revolution. This is not my only reason to question why. Today I say goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave to stay right here. Today I say goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave to stay right here. Today I say goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave to stay right here. Today I say goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave to stay right here. Today I say goodbye. This is a groovy record, man. There's some groovy spots. There's some ignorant chugging going on. Dude, It's been a minute since I listened to the first two records because I had them listen. I listened through to them a bit ago. I listened to the first Slipknot record when I wasn't even playing the audio through here. It was like through my laptop speakers. So that was a moment ago now. This is like got a hardcore groove element to it, man. And I know they have in the past, but like this is you'd mosh hard to this, man. Hey, shout out to all the metalheads, all the new metalheads watching the channel. I got a background of punk and hardcore punk music, so I approach these riffs a little differently, you know what I mean?
I'm the pariah. I am the lion. I can't take any. Accuse me of everything. Cut off the system. Deny my existence. I won't be afraid. I won't be unmade. God, break it off. God, by the line. God, say it. Say goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave this stay right here. I said goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave this stay right here. I said goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave this stay right here. I said goodbye. Goodbye. Oh, I didn't need to leave this stay right here. I said goodbye.
Let's go back a little. There's a real heavy bass frequency during this bit, but it sounds almost as if it's on the keys as opposed to just the bass guitar. That bit, doom, doom. Very nice. Comment on the drumming. So I'm not a drummer, right? So I can't really play the drums. I can play a D beat and that's about it. And I can't play a D beat well. I just know the rhythm and I just try my best, you know. And it falls apart, but it's good enough for me. During these reactions, I tend to do a little bit of air drumming. When I first got into playing music and learning instruments, I did start on the drums before moving onto the guitar. Couldn't play the drums where I was living, man. It'd just make too much noise. I'd just end up annoying the neighbours, man. We only had thin walls, so that was the situation with that. But when I tried to air drum along to Slipknot, Joey throws these fills in and these incredible sort of movements in the playing so often and frequent. I feel embarrassed to even try jamming along with it, you know what I mean? Whereas these other bands, I mean, I listened to bloody Weezer before this, and I was just jamming along. Don't get me wrong, Weezer was sick. I enjoyed listening to him, but the craft in this metal drumming is really above and beyond. There's King of the Pit TV. This one's called Duality. We're listening to Subliminal Verses from start to finish. I think I've heard this one before. I haven't pressed play yet. 62 million views. I think this is one of the one hits off of here, because we've got a couple of hits, right? Got Pulse and Maggots and Before I Forget, which I'm aware of because I downloaded both of them on LimeWire back in the day, and I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed them tunes, alright. I think I kind of downloaded The Blister Exists because I remember a couple of riffs off that record, but I didn't like it as much because it didn't have that singer-songwriter-esque banging chorus hook what we see in Pulse and Maggots and Before I Forget. This is Duality. I think I've heard this one before. I think we've got a sing-along section to this, alright? I think this song used to be on the playlist of a club night I used to go to. Yeah, some grebo, grungy club night, right? I think this was on the playlist. Let's check it out.
I push my fingers into my eyes. It's the only thing that slowly stops the ache.
Them keys are mischievous. October's here. Yeah, I don't know what time you're seeing this video. Probably a lot later than October, but October's here right now where I'm based and in the past. So welcome to those in my time machine. Yeah, I'm getting spooky October feelings with this. Gotta put typo negative on next.
But it's made of all the things I have to take. Jesus who never lands, it works its way inside. If the pain goes on.
I mean, really, if you think about it, this is quite a simple riff, quite a simple section, full stop. The drumming isn't, as overloaded as it has been. The riff is dum dum dum, just like stop and go, stabs at the guitar, and we don't have these like crazy ad libs with the extra instrumentation. You don't have to push it.
Collapsed, I've waited as my time's elapsed. Now all I do is live with so much fate.
If you like guitars like this sounds like some of the tough guy. Well, I say tough guy, maybe not necessarily, but like late 80s New York hardcore mosh bands. It sounds like a breakdown riff. This. If you like riffs like this, check out a New York hardcore band called Breakdown, man. I reckon you'll like them.
For this, I've bitched to that. I've left behind this little fact. You cannot kill what you did not create.
Yo, do me a favor, yeah? Listen to a song called Breakdown called Street Fight. If you like riffs like this, trust me.
I've gotta say what I've gotta say, and then I swear I'll go away, but I can't promise you'll enjoy the noise. I guess I'll save the best for last. My future seems like one big past. You're left with me, cause you left me no choice. I push my fingers into my eyes. It's the only thing that slowly stops me. If the pain goes on, I'm not gonna make it. Put me back together, or separate the skin from bone. Leave me all the pieces, then you can leave me alone. Tell me the reality is better than the dream, but I found out the hard way. Nothing is what it seems. I push my fingers into my eyes. It's the only thing that slowly stops me. But it's made of all the things I have to take. Jesus who never lands, it works its way inside. If the pain goes on, I'm not gonna make it. All I've got is insane. All I've got is insane. All I've got is insane.
All I've got is insane. Yeah, let me ask you something, right? Obviously, this is all subjective. We give real opinions and discussions on this channel. We don't over exaggerate and do all of this false everything is brilliant and suits me, which you might find elsewhere. 62 million views, and this is one of the most popular tracks going, and this was the song that got played at these club nights I went to. I know this song, right? These views are coming from the chorus section, right? Because the verse section isn't anything too special. It gives a great dynamic. So you're awaiting and it's building tension to that big banging chorus. But it's all in the chorus, innit? Because overall, as a track, I do think the verse sections are fantastic. Like the, spoken word, you know what I mean? Anyway, let's continue.
All I've got is insane. All I've got is insane. All I've got is insane. I push my fingers into my eyes.
That restraint was really good before kicking into that chorus. This might possibly be the last one, so they really amped it up and emphasised that. Let me just say, at this point, Slipknot are writing pop songs, to be honest with you, because the way they've laid this song out, at least in comparison to the previous songs, I mean, they have come in on a metal sort of tip, but now they've reached duality. I think they've sort of put on their music industry boots, whether you'd consider it selling out a little bit, thinking, you know what, let's write a banger. Because the way the dynamic changes from verse to chorus, and the way we've got verse sections and then we elevate it into the big banging chorus and the last chorus. The rule with the last chorus is, right, people have heard that chorus twice before, so we're going to triple it up for the people who enjoy it. But considering they've stayed until the end of the track, we can give them a little bit more, we can experiment a bit more, we can have a bit more of a party with it. And that little restraint to re-emphasise and boost this last chorus bigger than the others in a way by building and establishing more tension really shows the songwriting capabilities and abilities what are in this band. I'm actually just going to have a quick check at the credits here to see what the deal is with the writing, and look at this. Writer Chris, Corey, Craig, Jim, Joey, Mick, Paul, Sean, Sid. Rick Rubin was on production. Wow. Cool, right. So I don't know the names of all the individual members of Slipknot, but they've all got writing credits on this. I don't know if that's like literal songwriting credits, if they've all taken a cut. If so, that's pretty neat. You know, that sort of showcases why so many people in the band have worked out for the amount of time it has done. Because whomever has written the lyrics could very easily just say, no, I wrote the lyrics, I want 100% of the songwriting credit, which would, you know, for Slipknot, put this individual, you know, in a lot, put them in a bracket ahead of the rest, I'll tell you that. So that's interesting stuff. Anyway, I digress, people. Let's keep it moving.
I push my fingers into my eyes. It's the only thing that slowly.
Let me just add as well, there's no metal riffing going on in this chorus. It's just power chords. Doon, 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 doon. It's low frequency. It's tuned on like a drop B or B standard guitar, or maybe even as low as A. But if this was tuned on standard tuning, this could be a pop punk chorus, you know?
It starts the end. Was made of all the things I have to take. Jesus never ends. It works its way inside. If the pain goes on, I'm not gonna make it. All I've got is insane. All I've got is insane. All I've got is insane. All I've got is insane.
I like this breakdown here because they don't take it all the way to their lowest chug. I think that might be a D, right?
All I've got.
It sounds so heavier because they drop it from this. Goes to show you don't need to utilise your lowest frequencies and just chug on the open to be super heavy. I think that's the D. Am I wrong, people? People who can play this song on guitar. Is that a D chord? Because that sounds reminiscent of just like a drop D hardcore breakdown.
All I've got is insane.
Just what all of them early 2000 bands were doing. Sounds like a band called First Blood. Right, anyway, let's keep it moving, right? We finished that tune, Duality. I want to put respect on Duality because I think it more than likely was a doorway for a lot of fans to come in and start checking this band out and getting into this band, so I respect that a lot. I like this band because they're not afraid to move into the clean vocals and have great big epic choruses, you know what I mean? They're not afraid to do so whilst remaining really heavy and, you know, in their own way complex and, you know, technical. Des, King of the Pit TV, this one's called Opium of the People. Let's not waste no time. Track 5 of 16. Let's go. This is punk rock.
Get out of the way, dig into the shot, just stay the same, but I need some thoughts. Back it up, feel your lows till it makes you hot. Tell me everything's gonna be alright, cause I don't think I'm meant for tonight. It's the only way, it's all the way. The only way, it's all the way. The only way, it's all the way.
It's got a very unique sound to this. So that verse section was punk rock. That performance phrasing and execution was very punk rock to me. Whereas we've got these like zany guitar licks and riffs which are like quiet. I don't know what you would call it. Just like guitar rock style, man.
The only way, it's all the way. Oh my God, it's judgment day, I'm not prepared. Everybody out there when it gets so take a little bit off the top. I don't care, just make it stop. I won't give another soul. I won't give another life. You have to stop. 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 Stop.
The guitarist, or the lead guitarist in particular, is really showing off on this track. There's a very unique style of guitar from what we've heard in the prior Slipknot tunes on this tune in particular.
Do one thing and say something cryptic, but the styles always clash. One thing I know for sure, hypothetical won't work anymore. One more move and they will pound. My nails are tied inside my wrists. This sacrament is sacrilege and sentimental. It experimental things and accidental.
There's definitely a great concept to this song, and I want you to tell me in the comments what it is, because I picked up so much of the lyric there, but I don't want to speak on it without knowing, you know, the actual conceptual message that's been put forward. Same with the titling, Opium of the People, and this punk rock approach to things in a couple of sections of the song. They've come into this tune with a message, and I want to know what it is. Let me know.
I won't give another soul. I won't give another life. I won't give another thought. I won't give any more of my hope.
Right?
Are you happy in this modern world?
That was Opium of the People. Obviously not a favourite with the Slipknot fans, because that was the lowest view count we've had as of so far. I thought it was okay. I thought the arrangement was a little bit all over the place as far as you know, the different soundscapes we were hearing from section to section. I don't think Slipknot really does the shred thing too well. I think it's a little bit too off-brand. This one's entitled Circle, so I've got a hair in my mouth. Des, King of the Pit TV. This one's entitled Circle. Let's keep things moving. Track 6 of 16 on Volume 3, The Subliminal Verses. Let's bounce. Okay.
Give me the dust of my father. Stand on the face of the ancients. Bear all the secret flesh of time itself.
Are those real strings?
Follow me.
They sound
I'm
it.
so far, I'm behind again. Follow me. I wish so hard I'm there again. Follow me. Follow me.
This band is brilliant because Slipknot to me do have a sound. I do associate them with the low-tuned guitars. I think they're low 6-string tuned. I don't think they do 7 strings, right? But like the drop B, if not B standard guitars, if not lower. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they're in B standard or something alike. Joey Jordison's incredible style and sort of presence within the production. Corey Taylor and in particular his vocal, his bop, bop, bop. I can't do it. It's a bit quiet, so I'm not just gonna start shouting the house down. But you know, it's more angsty, angry shouts. Call him a scream, perhaps, but like, you know, that aggressive vocal style he does. Not necessarily the emo stuff we're hearing, or the gothic style, or the croaky, or you know, the sort of halfway. I associate him with that aggressive style first and foremost, and then second, the anthemic chorus, really belting vocal. So that's what I sort of, you know, set up as the foundation. But then they just span off and do really interesting stuff such as this. They don't go out of brand by doing so. They don't just start writing, you know, songs like Ed Sheeran. It still possesses the same energy. And it still is cohesive with the rest of the record, even though the rest of the record is just like riff central, mosh heavy ignorance. They can just put this like bleak sort of sounding acoustic jam into the mix. In a way, I would say there is a parallel, although it's very faint. And I say this because this is a really... I like this band a lot, right? There is a faint connection with the Spectrum Opeth control and how they pull it off, and how people who are really into metal are still like, so what? It's Slipknot, you know what I mean? They don't penalise the band for what they do. This is cool. They have a broad toolbox to mess around with, and I like it when they do stuff like this. Because this is like a singer-songwriter tune. This is the vocal performance on this. I was actually curious as to whether it actually is who is it? Corey Taylor. It is, because I think his vocals have come on heaps, or at least this vocal performance. He's performing in a different manner as to when he normally does his clean vocals. They sound like radio pop vocals, you know.
I never needed more. All my questions were answers to my sins. All of my endings were
when you have this style of organic acoustified sound with the band, it really shows off the production value that is behind this machine. Because with the metal, you can just line up a guitar amp, get a nice tone, riff through it with your metronome ringing in your ear, go get your vocals recorded, get your drums recorded. Having been through that process enough, I know it's like it doesn't share the same nuance and technical value as recording something relatively clean. And we've got these strings coming in. I think we do have keys to some degree fading in and out on this. And of course the percussive element of it holds so much more weight than it did whilst you're just riffing, and the importance is just accenting the beat. If you know where I'm coming from.
Follow me. I've seen so much, I'm blind again.
If he's riffing and he plays a bum note or like clashes, it just sounds like it's part of a metal riff. But with these chords and so forth, you're gonna hear if something's accidentally muted. You're gonna hear him ring off an accidental harmonic. You're gonna hear him go out of key with a clear indication that it was an accident, and then we have to start the recording process again.
Follow me. I feel so bad, I'm alive again. Follow me. All that I wanted, the things I.
And once again, we've got incredible songwriting as we're building tension and developing the song slowly but surely from start to finish. We're not staying baseline to a degree where people just thought, I've heard this before exactly 1 minute ago. When are we going to get to the next tune where we have a bit more of a transition and we get through to the metal where we got these different sections and it flows a bit faster? They're developing the song as they go along ever so slightly, because we've got these drums coming now, which hasn't given an incredible emphasis, but has added textures to where there was none before, building this multitude of layers on this, relatively clean sounding song. The Madlib vocals are good. This is cool. This is cool. So on the outro section to that, we just had something completely abstract and separated from the song itself, which may flow into this tune, Welcome. I wonder how much of a say the producer had on this record, because there's some incredible artistic elements which, really takes a creative mind or a mastermind at band practice to come together and you know, put these bits together. A lot of these great albums I've been listening to which have taken off haven't been song. A lot of them have been conceptual in a way that there has been these bridging elements which aren't necessarily the song themselves, but a small piece of music or noise which is being utilised as a bridge from song to song. There's King of the Pit TV. This one's entitled Welcome. This is the last song I'm going to listen to tonight. To you, it'll only be a second after this song before I get into the next one, but for me, I'm going to record the rest of the tunes tomorrow as it is getting late and I need to get up early. So this one's entitled Welcome. Let's go. Say, I was just thinking then, as far as metalheads go and metal bands and stuff, like even the most elitist of metalheads and so forth, I've not heard anyone put Slipknot down, really. I've not heard any like metalhead, regardless of what genre they're in, hate on this band, and that's incredible. That's incredible to say they have garnered such an incredible success. Me personally, I would put this just below Metallica in the most popular metal band category, at least within, you know, extreme metal, thrash metal, death metal, you know, all this and that, not like heavy metal and then more easy listening styles of metal. But I would say this is the second like biggest metal band in the entire world. If you disagree, I think it'd be a good space to debate, so you let me know what you think. Right, let's get back into it. Welcome. Slipknot utilised like a great they invest a lot of energy within the sort of frantic aspect of the sound. So we had them alarms ringing just then. There's always something going off which creates this crazy element of unpredictability within the music. And if anything, that's what makes them kind of crazy, you know, like we've got the masks, the intensity of the sound and that element to it which gives it this zany madhouse sort of feel to it. And that's, you know, when I first started listening to music like this, just by being put onto a few more extreme bands and hearing the vocals and hearing, you know, the intensity of the instrumental and the wall of sound that was coming from my ears, it was intimidating initially. Like I didn't get into Slipknot when I was younger. I got in through softer music, into like thrash metal and so forth. The kids who came through via Slipknot and that, man, I'm interested to hear what your story was if you were young and this was like one of your entryways into metal music, because it's a very intense sound. But they influence so many kids. Away from human clay. We are the broken shards, the young disarray. Before you condemn, you rape them. Feed us like odium. Stone a grip from my souls to our throats. And wall us up with your apathy. But you didn't know you're only growing enemies. This is the catalyst, the alpha, the first breed. Cause you made damn sure now we're everything. Destruction, reaction. The only way to go is to go away. Discard it. Before I let you go, you had to let me. Listen, lies, I'm blind, I'm away.
none. Welcome to the man that wanted everything but couldn't have. Destruction, destruction. The only way to go is to go away. Discarded, retarded. Before I let you go, you want to let me. With some lies and lies, I will wake up and follow the path of the ones I am made of. This time I won't give in. I'll save you from my sins. Save you from my sins. I'll save you from my sins.
Right, there we go. I think I said everything I needed to say throughout that. The guitar solos were alright. You know, initially I was kind of blagged that we were getting into another shred-esque bit, which I don't think suits the band too much. But as the solo continued and we started to just hear the consistency of, you know, extreme for extreme's sake, and you actually heard that whomever was playing that was a quality lead player, like to whichever regards. It wasn't out of key, you know, it wasn't random. It was actually kind of clean shredding. That was cool. And then we shifted over in a trade-off manner to the other guitar, which did the weird zany sort of effect guitar solo. That was pretty cool. And that's my last thoughts on this one. So we're going to move on to Vermilion. I'll catch you tomorrow, but to you it's going to be in one moment. Unless you're watching this episode by episode, which if you want to hear it all at once, check the link in the description, you can get it all at once. One love, people. Yes, now, bless now. Don't forget the rest now. Des, King of the Pit TV, signing in. Here, if you're watching me do the full album reaction, I might have transformed into a different person, alright? Had the quick shave up. I look about 20 years younger, I know. Dashingly handsome. It can't be helped, people. It can't be helped. We've been listening to the Subliminal Verses. I've taken a couple of days off, so this is going to be straight back to the freshness. I hadn't heard this one before. This one is Vermilion. It's been an exciting ride so far, I definitely know that much. If you can look at the tabs in the top of the screen, I got Crown of Horns locked and loaded, yeah? So I'm going to be reacting to Cryptopsy as well. Maybe it's been before I've put the Slipknot thing out. I doubt it, alright? So I got some good death metal coming up for you a lot. Or hopefully some good death metal. I know it's a classic record. None so vile. Anyway, this one's Vermilion. Let's not go too off topic, eh?
She seems dressed in all the rings of past fatalities, so fragile yet so devious. She continues to see climatic hands that press.
Them keys are really spooky. Bum, 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 bum. This has been an inventive record so far. This is quite different to what we've heard in the last couple of records. It seems like Slipknot have actually dialed down on the extremity in this record. Let me just double check what we've got as the information here, the credits. So, look at all of these names, man. Unknown, Ted Jensen and Terry Date. Do you know what they did? Two unknown characters right there. Unknown, Philip Broussard. So, as we can see here, producer Rick Rubin. Rick Rubin's just done a talk with Joe Rogan, which at this current moment in time I've not checked out, but I'm looking forward to getting into that. I wonder if he speaks on Slipknot at all. I hope he speaks on Slayer. That'd be pretty cool. Speaking to one of my mates regarding listening through to this record at band practice, he says, is it Corey? Corey was going through like some serious drug problems at this time, or maybe he tends to go on a cycle to go through these problems during each and every record. Might be a publicity stunt. I doubt it. But definitely during this record he was going through some troubles.
Her temples and
Well, I say definitely. You know, this record more than others apparently. I can't say definitely because I know nothing about this band.
my chest. Enter the night that she came home. Forever. She's the only one that makes me She is everything and more. The solemn hypnotic, my dahlia bathed in position. She is home to me. I get nervous, perverted.
This is bizarre. The guitars at this particular section of the record have sort of transformed into a more, well, to be fair with you, even on the first tune, the prelude, there's been more of a rock guitar going on. We've had like the dips into the death metal and so on and so forth, and like the heavier stuff, but there's been a lot of like rock guitaring, lead guitars, and this song in particular so far, the guitar isn't the instrumental isn't unique in the grand scheme of things, but for Slipknot, this is a lot different to what I've heard so far.
When I see her, it's worse.
It's not completely like complete melodicism, but it's melodic, you know. I was trying to relate it to a band, but I couldn't really put my finger on anything it sounds alike.
But the stress is astounding. It's now or never. She's coming home. She's the only one that makes me hard to say what caught my attention. Fixed and crazy, aphid attraction. Got my name in my face to recognize such a pheromone cult. The terrorize, I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me.
We're more than halfway through. Sorry, I've not got an incredible amount to say on this record so far. I think this tune is a bit bland. You know, I've not got much to talk on. I'm sure there's somewhat of a good concept behind it, but we're not here for concepts, people. We're here for the music. I'm not jamming too much to this one. Slipknot have really dialed down the intensity, and for this band, I don't like it. I do like the choruses and the big epic rock stadium rock choruses, but this is too tame, because here on the front cover we've got the bloody murderous red background with the black and white monstrosity that is Slipknot, these ridiculous looking horrifying masks, this great aesthetic and imagery. And now listen, if you were to just put this one tune on and sell this off as the band that we're seeing on the cover, it'd be such a mismatch. back in the day, I went to HMV when I started to get into extreme music, and I bought a CD from a band called the Birthday Massacre. They ended up being like some goth industrial band. They were called the Birthday Massacre. I was so upset when I put that CD in and I heard what it was. I'd be kind of gutted if this was what Slipknot was. You know what I mean? After seeing how cool they looked, how frightening they were. This is just a rock tune, isn't it?
I'm a slave and I am a master. No restraints and urgent collectors.
I'd go as far as saying the riffs are a little bit uninspired as well.
I exist.
Yeah, I am completely hating, by the way, and I've seen the amount of views this one's got, so I'm sure I'm disagreeing with whomever is watching this video right now. Hey, it is what it is. Check out the rest of my videos. There is some Slipknot I really do like. Alright.
My need is self-obliged. Say it's something in me. The dark is mine. I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me. Won't let this build up inside of me.
And we do have a Vermilion Part 2 as well coming up. So, that's actually quite interesting. So maybe there is some uplift to this tune. Maybe there's actual great progression that I'm currently missing out on.
Won't let this build up inside of me. Won't let this build up inside of me. She isn't real. I can't make her real. She isn't real. I can't make her
Right, that wasn't my cup of tea, yeah? I'm not saying it was bad. I just mean, in the grand scheme of things, the artists that are Slipknot, I extreme a more morbid picture from them. Conceptually, this probably is. Lyrically, it probably is. Soundscape-wise, not necessarily. We got Pulse of the Maggots next. Dude, I listened to this one back in the day. This one used to get me excited, so we got 2 thumbs up. Let's keep it moving, people. Pulse of the Maggots. Des, King of the Pit TV signing in, live and large. We're listening to the subliminal verses from start to finish. This is track number 9 of 16. Disclaimer, this isn't my first listen to this tune, alright? Back in the days when I downloaded music off of LimeWire, shout out to all the LimeWire heads out there, I know you're out there. I searched Slipknot and I downloaded a few tunes. Lucky for us right now, Pulse of the Maggots was one of them tunes. And before I forget, the tune that comes after this was the other tune I downloaded, or one of the multiple tunes I downloaded. This tune used to get me excited, but I was a lot younger when I was jamming this out on like a iPod Nano. I think it was an 8GB iPod Nano. It's sick, man. I want it back. So I've not listened to this in so long. It's gonna bring back some heavy nostalgia for me. Let's see what I can pick out. Let's see what I can enjoy. I can't even tell you what the chorus goes like, but I just know this is a really good tune. But it might also be really corny, and I might think, what was I thinking?
This is the year where hope fails you. The test subjects run the experiment, and the bastards
This band really didn't come with the edgy attitude they did for the first and second records. This one seems like they've gotten older and sort of by choice or through people pressuring them have had to divert their overtly edgy sort of ideal to something a little more mainstream. It's not a mainstream album or band, but it's, I keep repeating this. I've repeated this over the last few records. The production, the songwriting, and the general sound, so like the actual instrumentation and the songs they're writing, seem a lot more tame than what we've had. Because it was that first record was so good. The Slipknot self-titled blew my head off. It was just relentless. It was superb. But here we're a lot cleaner. We've spaced the instrumentation out so much. This spoken word thing at the start of this, you know, it's sort of to me. I don't really know what they were doing on this record. Like, alright, I'll be real. I'm trying to hold my tongue so I don't annoy the Slipknot fans. Here, people, this is like one of my favourite songs. I can assure you that now regarding this record. I already know I'm going to have a great time. But this intro section to me, like, what the hell? It doesn't seem real. It seems like we're putting on like too much of a character now. I mean, they're characters anyway, but what have you got to lose? Ba 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 ba. Who's with me? Come on, people. Right, so this is they've tried to write an anthem with this one. The crowd participation. I don't remember any of this. I like now the energy's kicked in, but I don't remember that intro. I don't remember these gang chants or these audience chants. This is a really soft sound. I am going to continue going through the discography, but if you've gotten up to this point watching this video right now, Slipknot's sound, do they ever step foot back into the extremity that once was, or did they continue progressing in more of a stadium, easily marketable direction? Yo, I don't know the name of that drum sample, but that's one of, if not the most sampled drum samples of all time. I don't think it's the Funky Drummer is like the most sampled drum beat of all time, but this one, what do you call it? Is it jungle? Is it breakbeat? There's a specific term for it, but that particular sample is like used all over the board. Vane did that. But then again, Vane sound like they were very influenced by Slipknot. If I had to give my life, you can have it. We are the boss of the maggots. I won't be the inconsequential. I won't be the wasted potential. I can make it as severe as I can until you realize you'll never take a stand. It isn't just a one-sided version. We deal with a mayonnaise subversion. Perverted, and I won't leave a pure Kerry King solo, that. The rhythm guitar's pretty frantic right now. That riffing's really tight. I bet that it just sounds like a really fun riff to play when you dial it down. It's seen as a track called Danger, Keep Away. Shout out to all the maggots out there. I didn't remember there being so many guitar solos on that tune. That was an absolute shred fest, wasn't it? So there we go, a little bit of an anthemic number from Slipknot. You know what? It was an half decent tune from when I listened to it back in the day, but it doesn't beat this next song that's coming up. Now this is the real banger. This is the real banger, so let's not waste no time. We've got Before I Forget coming up next. Des, King of the Pit TV signing in. We're listening to the subliminal verses start to finish. This tune is entitled Before I Forget. I heard this one because I downloaded it off of LimeWire onto my iPod Nano back in the day. This was my favourite one. This was my favourite tune by Slipknot from the limited material I ended up downloading onto my iPod. I haven't heard it in years, mate. But we're going to jump straight in. Let's go. In these last two tunes, Pulse of the Maggots and now Before I Forget, there's been, on the verse sections, a lot of call and response. The harsher vocal, and then he's had like a more spoken word, if not sung vocal, to accompany it, and they bounce back and forth. Here comes the chorus, people. Here comes. I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. Before I forget that I am a world. Yo, when I was a teenager, this was the coolest thing of all time, dude. This was the best melody I'd ever heard. Before I am a man, I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. Before I forget that. I'm ready to cry. at this point, if I was performing in Slipknot, I'd be the only one with the mask off. I'd say, screw you lot, I'm taking my mask off. Screw the record company, screw the contract. I'm taking my mask off. I just want to be famous. I'm in bloody Slipknot performing to hundreds of thousands of people in stadiums every night. All these festivals. You lot can keep your mask on. I'm the centre of attention now. I'm the normie at the band, yeah? I'd wear a suit and everything. I'd be the normie, yeah? Might spray a little blood splatter on me or something just to sort of fit in a little bit, have a bit of an edge to me. I'd be the poster boy, Slipknot. Screw the masks, man. I want to be famous.
And settle in the dirt and I you like a stick. Yet I'm the one who's hurt. Pay attention to your twisted little indiscretions. I've got no right to win. I'm just caught up in all the battles.
Locked in clutch, pushed to flip.
Pure songwriting. Verse, intro section, verse section, pre-chorus, chorus, turnaround section, verse section, pre-chorus, chorus. What have we got after this chorus? We'll have a bridge of some sorts, whether it be an instrumental, a guitar solo, you know, an alternate perspective onto the lyrical content, who knows. We won't go into a third verse.
Hold your breath. Listen! I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand. I will remember before I forget. Before I forget that. I am a world before I am a man. I was a creature before I could stand.
Sorry people, I got a bit distracted. I just seen a video come up here. Activists throw tomato soup on Van Gogh's sunflowers at the National Gallery and glue themselves to the wall. It's a video of some... I don't know what they're... how they're being activists. I've seen them sunflowers. That gallery's in London. That's an expensive painting, man. Or one of many expensive paintings, because Van Gogh did many variations of the sunflowers. This is an emotional bit, this. Those piano keys in the background, they're almost discordant with the actual guitar riff. Initially when they come in, I don't know if it's because of the dynamic. They slam on initially and then ring into harmonization with the guitar riff. But it sounds like there's almost somewhat a little dissonance between the two instruments. Was this tune on Guitar Hero? What's that Morse code? Right, good times. That was Before I Forget. Yeah, cool. Slipknot have just released a new record, The End So Far. I heard that all the records had to be recalled because they put the wrong album title on it or something like that, which is quite funny, to be honest. That's something that shouldn't have gone wrong. Like, who's dealing with the artwork, you know what I mean? Vermilion Part 2 coming up next. There's King of the Pit TV. We're listening to Slipknot's Volume 3. This one's entitled Vermilion Part 2 now. This might more than likely be a follow-on from Vermilion. Now, the initial had 3 million views, whereas this is sitting at 9.6. So this is definitely the favourite part. Let's jump straight into it. I don't think I've heard this one.
She seemed dressed in all of me, stretched across my shame, all the torment and the pain.
So the initial one was a little more riffy. It was like a rock tune, basically. And there definitely was a heavy concept to it. One moment. A heavy concept to it. One which I didn't necessarily pick on because I'm not here to pay attention to that sort of stuff. I just want to hear the music. One moment, people. Let me sort myself out.
Leaked through and covered me. I'd do anything ever to myself, just to have her for myself.
So, I found this quite surprising, but did Corey do Stone Sour or have his, singer-songwriter style project prior to Slipknot? Was that how he was found?
Now I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do when she makes me sad.
An incredible wealth of versatility has been throughout this record. A whole spectrum of different sounds and I'll go as far as saying inspiration, because we could be bouncing from one extreme to another on this record.
She is everything to me.
So is this an acoustified version of the original Vermilion song?
The unrequited dream, a song that no one sings, the unattainable. She's a myth that I have to believe in. All I need to make it real is one more reason. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do when she makes.
The choruses are great. They sound like it's Corey doing all of the vocal lines, or at least regarding them particular harmonies. Am I right in saying that, or is it another member of the band? Shall we have a look at the credits? Backing vocals, Chris Fenn.
But I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me.
Backing vocals, Sean Crayon. Now, we've had these credits on a lot of the different songs, so I think it's just encompassing the whole record, so it might be incorrect.
I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside of me. I catch in my throat, choke, torn into pieces. I won't, no, I don't wanna be this, but I won't let this build up inside of me. I won't let this build up inside.
A crazy emphasis on the layers of vocals within this track. I think that really is the highlight and the emphasis. Of course, the lyrical content and the vocal line is the most prominent aspect of this song, but we are also emphasizing it to the 10th degree by adding all of these weaving harmonies and separate vocal lines in and out. And it sounds really good. Sounds a bit like Chester from Linkin Park there. Them harmonies are amazing. They really created magic on that tune. That was really good. That was really good. That was really fantastic. That was a brilliant performance. She isn't real, I can't make her real. She is the song that no one sings. It was really good. Yeah, I thought that was good. I can see why that got the view count, to be honest with you. Not only is it an incredible change of energy, but it's actually really good as well. Like, as far as the songwriting content, it's a brilliant sound. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Let's get back to business. This one's entitled "The Nameless." It's